Hello, lovelies. I hope you're doing well today. Welcome back to another Timeless Pick a Card reading. So in today's video, what I'm looking at with the reading is I'm going to get information from the Akashic Records about your soul's purpose. So we come here with lots of different tasks that our soul wants to engage in as a human. But for some of us, we have like a big theme running through our lives. For some of us, we have maybe a few big themes running through, can't get my words out, running through our lives. So it depends what your soul agreed to before you came here as a human. So I'm going to do just a few readings. If you're drawn to more than one, it might be that your soul wants you to know about more than one purpose, okay, that's relevant for you. And if any of the information doesn't feel right for you in the reading, then you don't have to take it, okay. Before I get into the readings, I want to remind you that I'm running discounts throughout 2024 on my services and on the courses. So head on over to my website. There's a link below the video if you want to see what's on offer at the moment. And if you want to contact me with relation to anything that I'm offering, if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate. I've got a contact form on my website. Okay, my lovelies, I will see you in the readings. Hello, Group 1. Thank you for joining me. So I'm going to be channeling messages from the Akashic Record to get some insight into your soul's purpose. As I mentioned in the introduction, you might have more than one big purpose. I'm looking at the bigger things in this reading, specifically relating to the spiritual path. Okay, so we'll see what comes out. I'll get one more card and I'll have a look at them. Okay, so we've got 7, empowering. I love these new cat cards of mine. Leap, that you go first, the universe will catch you. We've got manifest. And number 7, release. I'm actually getting quite a strong magician type energy with this group, actually. I'm going to get some more cards, so bear with me. See what we've got there. 7 of Hearts, healing the past. 32, salt. 26, bracelet. Ace of Spades, new idea, inspiration. Okay, first of all, right, what I'm seeing on this bottom row is part of your soul's purpose was to engage in one or more really challenging relationships, okay? For some of you, this might have come from the family or from a spouse. So it's somebody very, very close to you that has had a big influence on your life. But not in a positive way, although there are always positive outcomes from negative experiences. So it's important to remember that. So I feel that part of the reason that your soul agreed to that contract was to empower you. You've got this empowerment card here. I feel that you've been engaged in difficult connections with people. Most likely for all of you listening, I think there'll be more than one difficult connection that you've engaged in. It could be a repeating experience. So that was because your soul wanted you to experience, how can I put this? Being pulled down, basically, so that you could build yourself back up. Because if we come into this life and we've got a good solid family that supports us and loves us, I mean, isn't that wonderful? But it doesn't make you a very strong person because you've always got people building you up. So when you've had people that are always tearing you down, it means that you have to become incredibly strong. You gain a lot of experience to learn a lot of wisdom as a person. And that's what your soul wanted you to experience. Now, it's important to understand, Group 1, that your soul, all of our souls, the soul doesn't make an agreement that it knows it can't fulfill, you know. Some people, I've experienced this myself in the past where I've been really angry at my soul, my higher self, for some of the experiences that have happened to me because I felt like it's just been too much, you know, too much. relentlessly for too long. That's how it's often felt. And I know that there will be those of you listening that can relate to that, but you never get anything that you can't cope with. So something else to remember from that is that the more, how can I explain this? Like, there is hierarchy in the spiritual realm, okay? A newly born soul or a newly created soul isn't going to be at the same level as an old soul, for example, where an old soul has had lots and lots of different life experience. I'm not just talking about on earth, I'm talking about in all the realms, in all the dimensions, in all the different realities and worlds. The soul is perfect in its own right, but it hasn't engaged in life as a being, and that's what we go to all these different realities to do. And those of you listening to this reading, you've had a lot of those experiences, which has brought you all this wisdom from these experiences as beings in various different avatars. And so your soul knows what it can cope with. It knows what's too much. It knows how far it can go. And so you, Group 1, you are highly evolved. You've taken on a difficult life path. You've taken on some very difficult circumstances to go through. But that's because you've got the capacity to deal with that. Because at some point in your life, you're going to go through some kind of activation or initiation or a big awakening or lots of awakenings. You're going to go through some kind of massive transformation where you hit a tipping point where you suddenly realize no more of what has been going on that's been difficult. And if that hasn't happened to you yet, it will at some point, I can assure you, because you do get to that point when you've been in adverse situations or difficult connections repeatedly over and over again. You do get to the point where you've had enough. You reach that limit, and your soul knows what that limit is, and it's waiting until it gets to that point. And then you have this kind of wake-up call in whatever way it comes in. Sometimes we get the wake-up calls in the middle of a massive crisis where everything falls apart. And that's how humans learn. That's how we evolve. We get to that point where we hit the rock bottom and we can't go down any further. And that is that wake-up call. And that is when you realise, okay, this cannot continue. Whatever it is in your life, it has to stop. And that is so empowering. And you've got this empowering card. So when that happens to you, it is then for you to lift yourself back up and for you to find the light again and for you to look at what has happened, for you to gain immense wisdom from the experiences, because in doing so, what I'm noticing, we've got 2 full moons and we've got this light bulb here. It's like you are an inspiration of light, whether you are aware of it or not, Group 1. You get to this point where your wisdom that comes in from your experiences, because remember, we are all one being, we're all connected. There's just one being here having a multitude of different experiences. So when you get to that point of realization, it has such a big impact on the whole, on all of the other sparks here, on the whole being. It has a massive impact where it ripples out into the mass consciousness and it impacts everything else, so that the next person going through a similar experience will find it a little bit easier to get to that point of lifting themselves up from rock bottom because of those who have gone before them and experienced that. So it adds to the whole. So with you, Group 1, you have got these big adverse situations in your life that you've been working your way through, wondering whether they're ever going to end, because that's what your soul wanted to experience, because it has a capacity of greatness, of magnificence, of amazing wisdom that can help so many others, okay? So you've got these energies in this reading as well of lifting up, of leaping, because I feel that for you, Group 1, you are here to raise the vibration of the level of consciousness in the collective, in this reality, at this time and space. What you go through makes a significant difference to the whole, okay? You aren't an ordinary person, and the things that have happened to you are not ordinary. And who you are, what you believe in, what you think, none of that is ordinary. I feel that a lot of you are very different, and you might spend a lot of time on your own, or you might spend a lot of time connecting with the mystical or the unknown, or anything that is out of the mass consciousness, anything that's out of the mainstream, anything that's different to that. You will have long periods in your life where you get drawn into those ideas, beliefs, experiences that are not seen as being normal. And so you yourself will not be seen as being normal. You are a magnificent being, and I hope that you know that, Group 1. You have got this potential to make such a difference in the whole, in the collective. And it's not necessarily that you need to put yourself out there in the public arena. You don't necessarily need to do that to make a difference. Some people do. Some people are maybe what you would call a light worker, where they work publicly in the light. Some people are what you might think of as a light bearer, where you hold the light, but you don't have to publicize everything that you've been through, just by you holding the light. It's like it takes a lot of courage to do that, a lot of courage and strength, inner strength, and a lot of self-belief, and being quite self-sufficient, I guess is the right word, where you know how to take care of yourself, where you're not afraid to be on your own, where you don't need somebody else's opinion, where you don't need to ask for advice from others to know what to do. I feel that you, Group 1, have done things, learnt your lessons the very, very hardest way that there is. But because of that, it's made you so strong, so intelligent, so wise, so knowing. Some of you could have very powerful psychic abilities if you chose to go down that path, if that's something that you haven't already done. It is something that I believe most of you could expand. And I feel that you could have quite a strong connection with Source. So I want to get some energies as to what is coming in for you, because what I am seeing in the reading here is, I feel that this will be quite relevant for you at the moment, Group 1, is you're going through a big ending and a releasing at the moment, and I feel that there's a new energy coming in for you. So I'm going to get some more cards just to connect in with what's coming in from the Akashic Records. So we'll see what wants to make itself known. Let's have a look. We'll get one of these, I think. See what insight we can get, because I can see a big shift in energy happening for you. Get these two. So we've got 7 of Forces, balance, and what number is that? 41, discipline, time. Okay. So I feel that this balance energy, I feel that this group, you've experienced a lot of imbalance in your life in the past, where maybe your work life has been out of balance with your home life, or your left brain energy, the masculine energy, has been very out of balance with the right brain energy, the feminine energy. And I feel that you might have had a very powerful shadow as well, which you've been bringing into balance. So what I feel is coming in for you, Group 1. I'm just trying to access the Akashic Records at the moment for the future, but the information that I'm getting coming through, it's not specific, because this is a general reading. I'm not getting specific messages. But what I'm seeing is that where things have been very out of balance for you in the past, you may have felt like you haven't had enough time to do the things that you really wanted to do, or you haven't had the resources, or, you know, that things have always been, it's like you've just had too much going on, or you've had too many people wanting from you, or you've had too many commitments, or too many responsibilities, or too much to pay out. You know, it's just all been too much. It's all been a bit out of balance, really, you know, that where it hasn't felt like it's aligned. I feel that you're coming into a time of alignment now, Group 1. I think that's the best way to put it. Where do you know what it feels like? It feels like you are coming to the biggest turning point of your life, where whatever has passed now in your life has led to, it's like that's an old life, it's like that's one life, and then you're at this turning point where you're about to begin a new life, and it's not going to be anything like what you've known before. That's what I'm picking up. So I think that's why the information isn't specific enough as to what's going to happen exactly. What I'm feeling is this new life coming in for you, this massive awakening. It's like there are going to be opportunities coming in for you that you never expected to come in, that you haven't seen coming, you know. I feel that there are going to be a lot of wonderful surprises where you might have thought you knew how things were going to go, but it's going to turn out completely differently. And I feel that there's going to be doors opened that you are not expecting. I feel like there's a big transition coming in, because what you've been closing out, and it might have been going on for ages, do you know what I mean? And what you've been closing out, it has been a big karmic cycle or a karmic debt that you've been carrying with you, not just from your life experiences, but from the collective. I feel that this reading, this isn't just about your ancestors or your family line. You, Group 1, you who are listening to this, you have got this soul purpose that connects in with the collective. Okay, it goes beyond the ancestors, it goes beyond the family line, it goes beyond just your past lives, it goes into the collective. You have been channeling out some energies from the collective like an alchemist does, you know, you've been transforming those energies. So your experiences that you've had have been immense and intense. A lot of you might be very sensitive souls, you might be very emotional, you might have been to the absolute depths of life to find your way back out, to climb up and out, you know, back into the light. And that was for the wisdom that has brought you. That's why you've been through that, because of the understanding that you needed to have for this. Because that understanding, you know, that's truth that comes in. And when truth comes in, that's light. Truth is light. And you are here to channel in as much light as is possible. And to do that, Group 1, when you are one of those souls that is channeling in huge amounts of light, you need to know what the darkness feels like. So that's why you have been to the depths, the deepest, darkest depths of the shadows, okay? Some of you might have experienced this in different way to others, but you have all been there on this very deep, dark journey. And that's because you need to know how to handle so much light. You can only handle the amount of light, the equivalent amount of shadow, if that makes sense. So when you've had a lot of shadow in your life, a lot of shadow experiences, a lot being deep and dark, and, you know, down there for so long, then you have this capacity to then bring in enormous amounts of light. So you are here to channel in the truth, the light of truth into the collective, because we need it, don't we? The shadow energy is very, very strong in this reality at this time and space. And so there are certain souls that have made this agreement to come in to channel the light. And the other thing about channeling the light is that the body needs to be ready for it. It needs to be prepared. And so you will have gone through experiences, some of you for sure, where you've had health problems, and that's because your body has needed to expel the toxins from the past to make your physical body, as well as your emotional and mental bodies, ready to hold a lot of light. If you're weighed down physically with toxins, with unhealthy lifestyle that you might have had in the past, receiving a lot of light could put you in hospital, and it could even kill people, you know. I've heard of this happening to people that have taken in too much light too quickly and they've actually died from it. They literally go back to spirit because they take in too much light, and light is spirit, isn't it? Spirit is light. So I feel that you have been working, or your soul has been working with your soul family on a nice kind of even pace for a while, getting you ready to receive a lot more light. I feel that you're having some kind of an upgrade, like a big upgrade, like more than you've ever known before, but you might not realise that it's more than you've known before because you're ready for it. Have you ever had the experience where you do have a big upgrade where a lot of light comes in and you kind of almost not ready for it, and then you suffer? You can get like a healing crisis come on, you can get all kinds of physical symptoms come in, you can feel like you're having a dark night of the soul. You know, all of that can happen when you take in too much light in one go. So you, group one, you've been getting prepared, and you are going to be holding a lot of light for the collective, and then you're going to keep channeling in a lot of light into the collective because we need it at this time. Okay, so yeah, I did mention briefly, didn't I, about a lot of new opportunities and some surprises coming in for you. I'm not getting specific information, as I said, about that. I feel that might be a reading for another time for you. Okay, so I hope that has really helped you, group one. I would love to hear what you think about the reading in the comments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello group 2, thank you for joining me in the reading. So I'm having a look at the information from the Akashic Records about your soul's purpose in this lifetime, like a big purpose type of energy that's coming through. So I'm going to get a few cards. I'll get one of these. See what we've got. 7 of Swords, Ace of Pentacles, breathe, freedom. I'm going to just get some more cards. That's just fallen out. We've got the 6 of Spades, creativity, 8 of Clubs, luck and abundance, and a couple more. "12 flies and 29 the knot." Okay. Now, the energy that I'm picking up with this group is, I'm getting the sense that it's almost as if you've been lying dormant for a while, or the purpose that I'm going to talk about, it's as if it's been dormant for quite a long time in your life. There's something about you that's special about you that you can do, and I do feel that it could be connected to a creative ability. We've got the create card there. And I feel that it's something that you could do as a job, as a career, that you could actually earn money from. And I feel like it might have been there as when you were a child. You might have done this thing, but something might have happened, or many things might have happened that kind of made you forget about it, or you took a different course of action and it feels like it just faded away, and then it laid dormant within you. And the feeling that I'm getting as to why it was dormant it feels like it's been a long time, you know, is because it was just down to timing. It's as if you had other things that needed to be accomplished in your life before you could come back to this thing. So I think those of you listening in this group, it's like, I feel like there's some kind of level of maturity that you needed to get to before you could engage with this thing again. So this could be I'm not talking about like maturing from a child to an adult. I mean, more to do with you as a person. So for some of you, it could be that you needed to go through emotional maturity, which might have meant going through some very challenging emotional times for you to learn emotional maturity, do you know? For some of you, it could be about mental maturity, where you might have you might have had a lot of certain beliefs throughout your life that have all suddenly changed or all come to change within a short space of time, you know, where you've realized that you were being fed lies, not necessarily on purpose, you know, because I mean, often our parents tell us things that they believe and they don't realize that what they believe is a lie, you know, because that's what they've been taught and that's how it is. So yeah, however, this level of maturity that comes in for you, I feel that has been connected to why whatever this creative thing is within you, why it wasn't ready for you to pursue when you were younger. And some of you might even have thought at some point, like, because if this is coming back in for you now, if you're aware of what this creative project is, because I'm sensing that some of you are, and you might even have started along this path, but I feel like you might even hold some kind of blame or regret with regards to it, as in, if this had happened, I could have started on this so much earlier in life and got so much further. But the message I'm getting from the Akashic Records, from your soul, is saying, no, it wasn't meant to be that way. It wasn't meant to be at that time. So please let go of any ideas that you've got about the timing of it being wrong, because it isn't the wrong time. It's happening now, or when it comes in, which I feel won't be too far away for some of you. It's happening because you're ready for it and you weren't ready for it before. If you'd have pursued this as a career in the past, you wouldn't have got very far. It wouldn't have turned out the way that you wanted it to, because you wouldn't have been ready for it. That's a very strong message that I'm getting through from your soul right now, group 2. Just to say to you, there's no blame, there's no shame, there doesn't need to be any regret or any anger or any of that about this, because it happens exactly when it's meant to. It's like one of those things in life that's been preordained, and no matter what path we take, we will always get to it at the right time, in the right place, in the right way, you know. It's just one of those things, and I feel that is what is going to come in for this group. And I feel that there are going to come in for you, like what I'm seeing, especially in these 2 middle cards, it's like lots and lots of opportunities, and not all of them are going to be the best opportunity for you. I feel like once you get this experience, this creative awakening, if you like, once a creative awakening comes in for you, there are going to be a lot of opportunities present themselves with different options as to what to do or which direction to move in, but not all of them are going to be the right path for you, or the best path, should I say. So there's going to, it's like, I feel like you need to unravel things a bit more and not jump into anything too quickly. That's the message I'm picking up, is to take your time with deciding on what direction you want to go. And the message I'm getting now is that if you embark on in one direction and you end up having a lot of negative experiences in relation to it, just then ask yourself if this is the best direction for you. I mean, we always have negative experiences in life, don't we? Because that's what this reality is like. But what I'm talking about is unnecessarily negative. For example, you might go down a path and have a lot of negative experiences, and you might be suffering some kind of, like, I'll tell you what happens with me is I get these what feel like anxiety symptoms sometimes with something, okay? And I think, why am I feeling anxious about this? And I start getting physical symptoms with it. And then I've got to this point where I've realised that sometimes that is actually your intuition saying to you, no, this is not right. And so it creates this feeling in your body that makes it feel awful and wrong. But some people mistake that for an anxiety symptom, like I have done. And so I've been learning to listen to my intuition more when that happens. Whenever I get a feeling that feels like anxiety or dread or fear, I really start to question myself as to what it really is that I'm feeling. And if the thing that I'm doing is causing that, because it's not right, you know. So that happened to me in December. Actually, something happened that I'm talking about that relates quite well to this, and it was, I had the realization, thankfully within a short space of time, that that particular path was not right for me. So I put a stop to it, and it was another learning experience for me. And I feel that that could happen with this group, because I feel that you've got, like, a lot of you are very sensitive emotionally, and I think that you're sensitive to energy. Some of you might be empaths, or you might even have quite a strong clairsentience ability. So I think that you could have this ability to tune into the energy of a situation or an opportunity. And so where you might feel like you're getting this sense of dread or anxiety, or something is building up inside of you, it's because you're feeling the energy of it, and it's telling you that it isn't right, okay? So I'm getting this message from your Akashic book that pay very careful attention to what your body is telling you and how you feel about these opportunities that are coming towards you, and take your time in tuning into them and feeling what is the right path for you. Because I feel that there's going to be a lot coming in, you know, like you see, like this, the antlers on this deer, and being very drawn to that, where there's all these pathways off, but some of them, they just don't go very far. And I feel that that's what could happen for you, group 2, is to... It's for you to have this awareness of finding what is right for you, you know, the right answer for what you're doing, the right path, working with the right people maybe, or if it's a course, choosing the right course, you know. If it relates to taking on jobs from other people, make sure you're taking on the right clients, you know, and not just doing it for money's sake, because that will be a hard lesson to learn. You know, when we make choices based on, oh, I've got to do this because I need the money for it, that comes from a fear-based decision of lack. And that won't bring in any positive experiences for you. It will bring in difficult experiences. So make sure that you're always tuning in to that energy of love. You know, when you're doing something that you absolutely love to do, it puts you in a very special place that's hard to experience with any other thing in life, you know. When we get in that zone, when we're following our passions with doing things that fill us with joy and uplift us, and what happens is we get filled with lots and lots of light, and that feels really, really good. So that is the feeling that you want to aim for, is that really, really good feeling, that feeling of upliftment and of joy and of positivity. Those are the feelings that you want to head for, okay? And not for anything that takes you down that path of lack or insecurity or fear or any of that, okay? So watch out for that. I feel that's quite a strong message coming through for a lot of you in this group, is to always question, you know, the opportunities, question the direction that you're taking, and notice how you're feeling about everything. Notice what your body is telling you, or what those little intuitive nudges are telling you about the path that you're on. Because I feel that a lot of you in this group, you might have had difficulty in the past with creating a lot of abundance in your life, and it all ties into this creative aspect, where if you've had a big creative block, which I feel that a lot of you will have from how this reading has gone, that's like one of the energy centers that relates to creating abundance. It's the same energy center in the body. And so you might have had a big block with receiving things, and it's been because of the creative block, okay? So I feel that that is clearing for you in this group. So when you start embarking on this path, particularly with this creative aspect, it doesn't have to be artistic, you know, creativity comes in so many different ways. But when you embark on this path, I feel that it's going to really clear out the blockages that you've had with receiving abundance, and that includes money. So some of you might have really struggled with receiving enough money or enough of other things like love or safety and security. You know, anything that we need in our life, you might have actually struggled with receiving enough of what you need, and it might have often felt like you aren't getting what you need. But I mean, if you look at your LIFO group too, you will realize that you have always got by in some way or another, you know. So I feel that when this path opens up for you, if it hasn't done already, I don't think it's far away for those of you who haven't on this path yet. I feel that it is going to open a door. I think you're going to get a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas, a lot of opportunities, but it's also going to open up this pathway to abundance where this thing that you pursue is going to lead to it being your career, your job, and the way that you earn your living, and like earning a proper living from it better than what you've experienced in the past, you know. So I feel like it could be very uplifting. And then when you engage in this thing, because it's what you really are passionate about, because it's what you really love, you're putting all of this light into it. So whatever this creative project is, this creative work that you do, when it's presented to others then receive the light that you've channeled into it, okay? And then that will then uplift other people in a very, very positive way. It can be in lots and lots of different ways that people are uplifted, you know. It could be that you want to be an artist or a writer, or you want to create food recipes, you know, or you want to do things with plants. You want to be creative with plants or flowers, or you want to be creative with houses, you know, anything creative. It involves other people most of the time, doesn't it? Because we share as artists. Artists share their work, don't they, with the world usually. It doesn't have to be on the worldwide stage, but you, as an artist, whatever form of artist you are, you're sharing your work with somebody else, one other person, or lots of other people, you know. It doesn't matter how many the numbers are. What matters is that you're following your passion and you're following your heart and making your decisions based on your heart and not on the ego mind, which will try to get you to stay in a place of safety and keep you small. So be aware of any kind of critical thoughts that you might be having where you're putting yourself down or holding yourself back, because this is your soul's purpose in this lifetime, group 2. I feel that those of you listening to this reading, you have quite a unique soul that I think for, if not all of you, and certainly for quite a number of you listening, I feel like your soul goes to lots of other realities doing this, where I think that you're a very creative soul. Like generally your purpose for being created, your own personal divine spark of the whole, is to do with creativity. And I feel that unless you are doing something creative in your life at some point, you're never going to feel truly fulfilled. Even if you're doing a job now that you like, and it's doing good, or it's helping people, or it feels okay, it's paying the bills, you don't mind getting up and going to work, or whatever you're doing, even if you're doing that now, and it isn't the thing that you truly, truly want to do, that's in the deepest depths of your heart and your soul, I don't think that you're ever going to feel truly fulfilled or satisfied by what you're doing unless you follow this passion. So I do feel that it will come to all of you at some point, even if you don't feel like you're anywhere near ready for it at the moment. It will come in at some point. It feels like I said in group 1, there was something similar in group 1 where I said this is one of those preordained, destined moments. Because some things in our life, it's like our soul engages in them, our soul agrees to them, and they happen no matter what. They happen no matter what path we take. We end up at these points. And this is one of those things, group 2, where you will end up engaging in this creativity, this creative energy at some point in your life. For some of you, it will be a lot later in life than others. But, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because it will happen for you when you are ready for it. Okay, so there will be lots of other experiences that have gone before that have been preparing you for this, and they have all been really important and all valid and all significant for your path and all needed. So even if this does come on later in life for you, it's come at the exact right moment for you, group 2. Okay, I just want you to know that. Let's just get a couple more cards to see if there's any more information about what might be coming in for you, or any more insight coming through from the Akashic Records about this. I feel like there might have been a lot of clearing going on in your life, you know, especially leading up to this coming in. We've got number 6 ruling, and Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the Lightning Foundation's divine plan. Now, those are the words that jump out at me, divine plan, because that is what I've just been talking about this destined thing for you. It is destined. And you've been getting ready for it. No matter when it comes in, you have been getting ready for it. And when it comes in, it's going to feel amazing. And it's going to feel like the right time. It's like you're going to get to that point where you think, yeah, it's time now. It feels right. I feel ready. Let's do this. You know, I can see that happening for you, group 2. This number 6 ruling card, I'm very drawn to the red energy on there, which is like the base chakra. That is an energy of change and action and movement. And this is you setting out on your path. I feel that some of you might need to make some kind of a plan, or draw up a schedule, or write a list or something. There's some kind of planning in some way that or steps that need to be written down or observed, or, you know, there's something like that, some kind of structure I'm feeling for most of you that's going to need to come in for you to then take the next steps onto this path. And I feel that this is an energy of empowerment that I'm getting, of you feeling very stable and secure and knowing your worth with what you're doing. Because I think in the past, you didn't really realise your worth at that time. And that's part of the reason why this didn't happen for you in the past. So that's one of the big lessons that you've been learning in this lifetime to get you ready for this time, is to know your worth with what you're doing. Because I feel that there might have been a lot of doubts surrounding it, and it would have stopped you from getting very far. So you will have had a lot of life lessons about self-belief and self-empowerment and courage and really trusting yourself. So when it comes in for you, you are going to be ready for it, group 2. Okay, so I really hope that reading has helped you. Please let me know in the comments how this relates to you, if it resonates with you. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your support. Have a fab day, and I'll see you in the next video. Hello group 3, thank you for joining me in the reading. So I'm going to get some information from the Akashic Records about your soul's purpose in this lifetime. So this is like a big purpose, a big life thing that's going on for you. See what comes through. So I'm going to get a few cards first of all. As I said in the beginning, it might be that you've got more than one big purpose in your lifetime. You know, some people have. So if you're drawn to another reading, then listen to another reading. So we've got Be More Witchy. Number 17, The Lookout. 17, oh, 2 17s. How interesting. Bittersweet. And Attitude, Desiring, Belonging. Okay, let's move those across. Some of the cards in this fantasy cat oracle deck are, as you can see, they are landscaped cards. They've got like different influences. I love them though. Goodness me, I only want a couple. There's way too many there. Let's keep shuffling. So it's interesting you've got the number 17 twice, because in the tarot deck, that is the star card. isn't it? And that's a lovely influence. With this bittersweet and the lookout card coming in here, I sense that there's some kind of difficult situation, and I feel that it could be present for you at the moment. 9 of Diamonds, completion. 3 of Clubs, group teamwork. 27, spilled milk, and number 12 for flies, the flies card. That came out in the last reading. Right, bear with me. I've got a lot of information coming in and I just need to organise it in my mind. So I'm going to take a pause and I'll probably edit it out of the video. Okay, group 3. I think I've got it. So what I'm picking up is that this group are often engaged in, it's like you're very, very aware of the world stage. You're very aware of all the illusions that are going on in the world. You're very aware that there are a lot of lies and deceit in plain sight. You are probably very aware of all the mind control, the suggestive programming that goes on. I feel that you probably like to keep quite up to date with things that are happening, or some of the things that are happening in certain areas, certain subjects or certain parts of the world. You might have been down a lot of rabbit holes in your time. I feel that you're very awake, very aware, but that you've been waking up and waking up and waking up more and more and more and more and more. So you might have gone through these phases where once you have a wake up, you then feel this urge to share things with people, what you've learnt, and then you spend time doing a lot of research into it to discover the truth and realising all the lies that have been put out there in the world that so many people are believing. I feel that for this group, you might have gone through these periods of feeling quite angry and frustrated at the collective as a whole, people as a whole, because people are being fooled all the time, believing things that aren't true. And it's like, can't they see the truth? Even when you explain it to them, they still can't see it. So I feel that this has been quite a strong influence in your life. If not for a long time, certainly very intensely over the last few years. I do feel that there are some of you listening to this group who have been awake for a long time, and you might have been quite an aware child that was very, very different to all the other kids and found it really hard to fit in. And you might have realised that other people weren't like you, and you ended up keeping your ideas to yourself. Maybe some of you decided not to do that and you wanted to share your ideas, and you've been carrying on doing that. Some of you might even be in a position at the moment where you have an audience and you are conveying the truth to people in some way, or you are in contact with quite a lot of people and you share truth that way. There could be some of you doing that. But there could be some of you that are just on your own path, uncovering one bit of truth at a time, when you're not sharing it with people, and that's fine. I feel that with this group, there are different energies there where some of you have got this calling to share what you know with people, and some of you haven't. But I feel that you are very aware of... I need to be careful that I don't say certain words because I don't want the video to get picked up. I don't want it to get picked up, triggered by the algorithms or anything. There are certain energies in this world that certain people worship that are not in our best interests. And I think there are some of you in this group that are very, very aware of that, like so aware of it that it might scare you. But I don't think a lot of you get very scared very easily because, you have been always very different. There are things going on in this reality that a lot of people don't know about. That there are a lot of unseen and hidden things going on in this reality. And I think that compared to the majority, I think that this group do not scare easily. But I do think there might be a tendency for a lot of you to get a bit caught up in the energies of all of this, because it can be very emotionally reacting when you keep discovering so much truth that people are missing, and it can be easy to fall into an emotional reaction and get angry with people or feel frustrated or feel this need to tell people, how it is. So I feel that there is a big learning experience for a lot of you in this group to discover how and when, and in the best way to share the information and who with. Because I think that some of you could be aware who are listening to this that there are, how do I put this? That our emotional energy has value. I don't want to say too much. I'm sure those of you who know what I'm talking about, you understand what I mean. All energy has value, it's significant, it's important, but they're like positive energy has a certain impact and negative emotional energy has a certain impact or use, should I say, in this reality, maybe by certain beings that charge themselves up on that type of energy. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. I just don't want to say too much in my videos because I think that I've already been shadow banned by some things that I've spoken about. And at the end of the day, I want my videos to get out there and to be seen. And, that's no good when you're shadow banned, isn't it? So, yeah, I think that this group has a lot of awareness of the opposing forces, shall we say, in this reality, what the opposing forces are doing, what they can do, what they're capable of. I feel that this is a very deeply spiritual group that has you've got very much of a bigger picture perspective that a lot of people don't see. It's like a lot of people will be focusing on smaller aspects of awakening and learning the truth about those things. But you, Group 3, I sense that you are big picture believers. You see things way beyond what the majority of people see, and I feel that a lot of you might have gone through your life feeling very alienated and very alone because there aren't that many people in this reality that have that level of awakening and understanding, and so you might have found it hard to meet other people that see things like you do, that see the bigger picture, because the bigger picture is so much bigger than the majority of people will ever be able to imagine. Even for some people who are still seen as being very aware and enlightened, they still don't necessarily see the bigger picture. But you, Group 3, I'm getting that very strongly for this group. You see the bigger picture. But what I was just saying there, where you might have felt like you haven't fitted in because you can't find people like you, there is a reason for that. It's because there aren't that many like you. You might have gone through your life finding it difficult to find people on your wavelength, but take heart. You are a rare soul, you are an unusual soul, but there are others like you. It's just that there might not be a lot of others like you where you live, but that we are, they are all out there. They are out there. So have faith that at some point, if you haven't met someone like that yet, that you will at some point. I do feel that coming in from the Akashic guides, because they're actually telling me now that part of your soul's learning, or your human's learning rather, your soul's lesson, was for you to get to the point where you're not afraid of being alone and standing in your beliefs, standing in your truth, even if it's just you. This has been needed for your purpose here, for you to build up that strength and courage to do that, because the amount of positive energy that ripples out from you when you stand in your truth on your own, that takes so much strength and courage to do that, Group 3. And that is what as your life has been building up to, because of the energy that ripples out from you into the world stage. If you think of yourself and the other souls that are like you, all positioned around the world, getting to this point of being unafraid of the negative energy, unafraid of the shadow energy, and you stand in your truth no matter what. Some of you, as I say, you might have some kind of a platform, and I'm sure most of you have seen how some people are being made an example of now who are going against the mainstream narrative. And I feel that with this group, Spirit has been working with you to help you to be strong and not to be afraid, to stand in your power, to stand in the truth, because your energy, your soul's purpose, it is needed. And the more that you stand in your truth, the more light you create, and the more light that is created, what happens to a shadow when there is lots and lots of light? It disappears, doesn't it? And that is your purpose, group 3. Your purpose is to shine so much light that you eradicate the shadows in this world. I mean, I don't think that's going to be completely possible because we all have shadow within us and we can't get rid of that. It's part of who we are in this reality. But I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The shadow energies in the world stage. You are here to shine your light on that. And I feel that for most of you listening, I think that some of you might have come into this reality just for that purpose. Not just in this lifetime, but I think that you've had other significant lifetimes where you have done a similar thing in past times in history when it's been needed and necessary. Okay, and I feel that for some of you, definitely, if not all of you, you might have said, okay, this is the last time that I'm coming in to do this. I'm not coming in again to do this again, because it takes a lot, it takes a lot as a human being to do that. Your soul is a limitless spark of the divine, so it doesn't think twice about it. But as a human being, it's a lot to go through and it can be so difficult. It's a challenging path to walk, especially when you're doing it on your own. So I feel that there is a lot of you that will be choosing not to come back. And I think one of the hardest lessons that this group has had to learn in this lifetime is not to engage too much or not to get too pulled down into those emotional reactions that the shadow energy tries to create by the events that happen in the world stage. When things are created to create a reaction, that reaction creates this negative energy that then fuels more negative events, and it keeps escalating. So there needs to be people like you, group 3, to hold this light, to stand strong in your power and not to engage and not to let yourself get pulled down into that chaotic energy, into the negative energy, into the shadows, into having an emotional reaction. So be very vigilant, I will say to you, group 3, about your reactions, your emotional reactions to things. It's really important that you stay balanced and centered with what's happening, because there are going to be a lot more things coming in over the next few years that are going to challenge people, especially those who are sensitive and those who are very aware and those who are wanting to spread the truth when others can't see it. It can be hard not to have an emotional reaction and get annoyed or frustrated with people, but there comes a point where you kind of need to have this understanding of, well, everybody's on their own path. You can't control another person's reactions. So I feel that it's really important to say to you to stay centered and grounded and balanced, and to remember that you are carrying an enormous light inside of you for a very specific purpose. You are carrying the light of truth, group 3. Oof, feels immense. Let me get a couple more cards just to see if we can get any insights to what is coming in for you from the Akashic Records. This reading has been quite different to the other two, no surprise. Let's choose one of these, I think. But this is a very unusual group energy that I'm picking up for this one. Very unusual. We have got, oh, look at that, 36 wildness, electricity. What have I been talking about with the, the negative and the positive energies? That's what it is, isn't it? The electricity. Yeah. And electricity creates light as well. We've got 15, the muse. Okay, so the muse. And I've just said about electricity creating light. The muse is to do with creativity. So you are here to create as much light as possible. You are here to really watch your own beliefs, your own thoughts, your own emotions, your own feelings, your own actions. I'm getting the word vigilant put into my mind over and over again. Spirit is saying you need to be very, very vigilant with your energy, with how you're using your energy. Because in this group, those of you listening, you have the capacity to have a big impact on the whole, on the collective, in this reality. So it's very important that you take good care of your energy and use your energy wisely, you know. And so really notice where your thoughts are going, where your emotions are going, where your feelings are going, where your beliefs are going. Really, really examine that. I feel that for this group, you might have had, you might be on quite an intense spiritual path where you've really been engaged in a lot of self-awareness and healing and learning. And that's for this purpose that I've been talking about throughout the reading, is so that you can really know yourself, so that you can catch yourself when you slip back into some kind of negative reaction, because I'm getting the feeling coming in that you are going to be really, really needed in the coming years. And it is, as Spirit keeps saying, vigilant, be very vigilant, because I feel that there are going to be a lot of things thrown at us in the coming years that could make it more challenging to stay grounded and centered and aligned. And so Spirit's saying it's so important that you watch where you're at all the time with everything, and that you focus on holding that light always, okay? Let me see if there's anything else that wants to come through. I am getting a connection with animals with this group, so I don't know if some of you or all of you have got animals in your life, or you're very connected with nature, but I feel that animals and nature for this group are really useful in helping you to not get too drawn into the chaotic energy of the 3D soup, toxic soup that we live in. Spirit's saying that the natural energies and the animal energies are really good for helping you to stay grounded, to help you to de-stress, to help to heal you, and to help you to stay in that place of unconditional love, because unconditional love is all that animals know how to give, and nature is just full of love because it's life and it grows and it's abundant and it's de-stressing, you know, and it can help you and heal you. So I feel that whatever resonates with you, whether it's nature or animals or both, those are what you can have in your life to help you to stay balanced, okay? So group 3, I hope that's been of some help to you. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video.